May I request President Mr. Vikas Singh and Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Vice President, to kindly escort Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India, and Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee and Mr. K. Venugopal, Learned Attorney General for India, to the dais. May I request Seema Patna, Member Executive SCBA, to kindly present a bouquet to Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India. May I request Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh, Member Executive SCBA, to kindly present a bouquet to Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India. May I request Mr. Kumar Gaurav, Member Executive SCBA, to kindly present a bouquet to Mr. K. Venugopal, Learned Attorney General for India. Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, family members of Justice Indira Banerjee, Mr. K. Venugopal, Learned Attorney General for India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General for India, other learned law officers, Shri Vikas Singh, President SCBA, Shri Pradeep Kumar Rai, Vice President SCBA, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, President SCORA, senior advocates, and my other fellow colleagues at the bar. Today we have gathered here to bid farewell to Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge, Supreme Court of India. She was appointed as Judge of Calcutta High Court in February 2002 and was appointed as Chief Justice of Madras High Court in April 2017. She was the 8th woman judge to be elevated as Supreme Court judge on 7th of August 2018. 8th woman judge. In her tenure of more than 4 years as a Supreme Court judge, she gave numerous landmark judgments. In the latest constitution judgment, in the case of Trimurthy Fragrances Limited versus Government of NCT of Delhi, it was held that the judgment delivered by a larger bench would prevail, irrespective of the number of judges constituting the majority. In another constitution bench judgment in Rajen Diwan versus Pradeep Kumar Rani Bala, reporting 2019, 20 SCC 143, it was held that Section 13(2) of Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act 2011 was unconstitutional, as the state legislature had lacked legislative competence. And numerous other landmark judgments like Sushila Agarwal versus State of NCT of Delhi on anticipatory bail. She conducted her court very gracefully and was always very polite to the members of the bar, and as a person, an excellent human being. I also take this opportunity over here to thank Honorable Mr. Justice Yu Lale, Chief Justice of India, and other members of the Chamber Allotment Committee, Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Khan, and Honorable Mr. Justice J.K. Maheshwari, as we are informed that the possession letters would be given to lawyers who have been allotted chambers in D Block Additional Building Complex by next week, and around 460 lawyers would get their possession letters. And just one request to the Chief Justice, sir, we have our entry issues over here. Lawyers are not able to enter because if they come with a driver, sir, they are not allowed, sir. Just a small request, if the security committee can consider it, sir. That's again a reason, sir, a lot of members are not able to come to the auditorium, sir. With this, may I now request Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Vice President, SCBA, to kindly give his welcome address.
Honorable Justice Indira Banerjee, Ma'am, Honorable Justice Uday Umesh Lalit, Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable K.K. Venugopal, Attorney General for India, Mr. Vikas Singh, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, Rahul Kaushik, Secretary, Supreme Court Bar Association, Honorable Tushar Mehta ji, Solicitor General of India, Mr. P.H. Parekh, our 6th-time President of Supreme Court Bar Association and 10 times President of SCORA, and senior members of the bar and honorable judges of Supreme Court of India. When we have to mention about the name of Honorable Justice Indira Banerjee, we have to see her with the perspective what he said once, that I want to be like a diamond, precious and rare, not a stone which is available everywhere. Madam Banerjee is studied from Calcutta. She did her schooling from Loreto House, graduated from Calcutta University, and Madam has a illustrious family, very respected family. Her great-grandfather was officer of Calcutta Civil Service, Bengal Civil Service, which was actually governed those days Bihar and Jharkhand, and all these states were part of Bengal. He was a civil service officer. She had a connection with Mount Abu, where she spent her childhood and learned the lessons of Gita. Almost every day, she used to go to assembly where they have to learn Gita, and she used to recite sloka to the teachers and also to her parents. Her father was a police officer. He was serving IPS officer. And Madam Banerjee, she was actually policed by Samaraditya Pal, who was a learned senior advocate in Calcutta High Court, and he happens to be the husband of our Supreme Court judge, former Judge Ruma Pal. She is the second judge from Calcutta who made to the Supreme Court, especially the lady judge. Other judges also were there, but we used to say that when Madam Banerjee is there, entire bar knows that she is a good judge. For us, when we refer a good judge or difficult bench or something, it means that younger members are very happy if that particular judge is hearing a matter, because they will get the opportunity to be heard, they will get the opportunity to be appreciated and also to be nurtured. Madam Banerjee was, after Calcutta High Court tenure, she was transferred to Delhi High Court, where we all thought that she is going to be Chief Justice, but she was transferred to Chennai. Chennai is one of the most difficult court. Normally, what I have seen that many judges who go from this part, they always complain. They just want to run away from there. And I have personally seen that 2-3 of judges, they found a difficult time, but Madam Banerjee, she not only performed there well, she was the one of the most popular judge in Madras High Court. One of the most beautiful building, good building that was in Ooty, that district court was inaugurated by her. When we say that Madam Banerjee, how she is, then you have to just meet her once. If you meet her once, you will not have any other option than to appreciate her. She never carries a kind of ego with her. She is always a lady, a gracious lady who always takes care of members of the bar, family members, as it is her responsibility. She had taken care of her mother very well. She had taken care of her sister very well. And her entire family is connected to her. One of her sisters, who was Padma Kastagir, who made this Kastagir criminal law, she had her very popular book and very popular journal. She was her maternal aunt, Mosi. She was the first lady Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court. And Honorable Ladyship learned the lessons from there. Her grandfather, Dr. Sarat Chand, and great-grandfather, Bipin Bihari Banerjee, they all were very renowned persons from there. Her grandfather, Sarat Chandji, was very renowned doctor in Ireland. He came to India and he served a lot of poor people, and he used to run a dispensary and also a clinic for the poor persons. Today we can see her nieces here present, Ms. Priya, Sumita ji and Munmun ji. They are here. I welcome you all, ma'am. Madam says once in a lecture series that people's money that is handled in a wrong way is also an economic offense. That statement itself is actually a very touching statement, because ultimately, being citizens of any country, they expect from the government that the exchequer's money should be handled properly. And that kind of courage is only with the ma'am. Ma'am, we are going to miss you. I am not going to refer the judgments delivered by you, but I am going to refer only one thing, that being judge, you have judged several cases, but today, when bar is judging you, they are giving you 100 out of 100. She had suffered with various difficult times, but in all those difficult times, she had one shloka always near to her heart, that is Vihaya Kamana Yah Karva Punarvasti Nispraha Nirmamu Nirhankara Santima Gachitya. It means for a man to attain peace, he requires to follow his duty properly. And for that, he requires to abolish the miseries and greed and meaningless and ego from the mind. Ma'am, you actually fought with all the troubles, and you had one motto. She is actually very fond of Shirdi Sai Baba. She goes to all the temples, but she has personally, it is said that she has met Sai Baba. And when she met with, she went with her mother to Shirdi Sai temple. There someone came to her and said that, ma'am, you go to this committee and there you can have good darshan, but then she did not actually see that person, and she believes, and it is a very popular actually in her family, that she has actually interacted or has the proper blessing of Shirdi Sai Baba. I congratulate ma'am for everything, what you have done for the bar, what you have contributed in the profession, and you are going to continue in the profession further. This is what we all believe. You always believed that मुश्किलों से ये मत कहो खुदा से कि मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, कह दो ये मुश्किलों से कि मेरा खुदा बड़ा है. We really appreciate, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pradeep sir. May I now request Mr. K.K. Venugopal, Learning Attorney General for India, to kindly give his address.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice U. Lalit, Honorable Justice Indira Banerjee, Honorable Justices of the Supreme Court of India who are present here today, the Solicitor General of India, Shri Tushar Mehta, and my colleagues, the Additional Solicitors General, the law officers, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Vikas Singh, office bearers of the SCBA, President Shri Manoj Mishra, and office bearers of the Supreme Court Advocates on this Record Association, and my friends. What I have observed when I entered the court of Justice Indira Banerjee, where she was presiding, was a sense of calm that prevailed, where the judge did not raise her voice, but at the same time was firm and decisive in her observations. All this was reflected in her judgments. I had shared the platform with Justice Banerjee in Chennai at a function, and when the function was over and I had got down, the lawyers were telling me that she was one of the most popular Chief Justices that the Madras High Court ever had. And the additional Advocate General praised her at a farewell speech, paying encomiums. And in flowery language, he said that this is one Chief Justice who has raised the stature of the Chief Justice of the High Court of Chennai, Madras. And therefore, so far as the lawyers are concerned, they are very proud about her. They were sorry that she was leaving the High Court, but at the same time, they were happy that she was going to a much higher level of courts, that is the Supreme Court of India. In a period when women were not encouraged to be professionals, Justice Indira Banerjee was surely an inspiration for the younger women lawyers. And when I think of Justice Banerjee's tenure, there are two things which strike me. The first is a tremendous work ethic, and the second is a compassion. I too had been noticing that whatever be the area of law, one would invariably find a judgment of Justice Banerjee on the subject, be it criminal law, insolvency, arbitration, etc. During her tenure, she has delivered 98 judgments and been a party to 14 constitution benches and a member of the bench 432 benches. Her judgments displayed a nuanced mix of common sense coupled with a commanding exposition of the law. For example, in the Constitution Bench decision in Rajendra Diwan versus Pradeep Kumar Ranibala, in which I had appeared, it was Justice Banerjee who authored the decision of the court of the Constitution Bench on the question of whether or not a state in exercise of its legislative powers could enact a law providing for a direct appeal to the Supreme Court of India. And Justice Banerjee held that's not permitted because so far as the Constitution is concerned, in distributing powers between the state legislators and Parliament, the criminal organization, jurisdiction, and powers of the Supreme Court of India was outside the scope of the competence of the legislatures of the states, and therefore the right of appeal directly could not be conferred by state legislation. It had to be only by Parliament. Another recent example was Justice Banerjee's judgment in Vidarbha Industries on the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, and she held that so far as the NCLT is concerned, it had the jurisdiction to decide whether to take on file an application for corporate insolvency by taking account of the relevant factors, including the feasibility of initiation of the corporate insolvency resolution process and the overall financial health and viability of the corporate debtor under its existing management. This decision is a landmark one because it has now given a wide discretion to the NCLT not to take on file cases which were not deserving. The second aspect that I would dwell upon is Justice Banerjee's sense of compassion. This was evident in the manner in which she conducted a court and a ready encouragement to the younger members of the bar. Most recently, Justice Banerjee took the unusual and heartwarming step of personally thanking the efforts put in by her court masters. And she declared that if it were not for their working late in the night, it would not have been possible for her to deliver the judgments without delay. And while I have no doubt that Justice Banerjee's staff is truly meritorious, yet perhaps there is something in Justice Banerjee herself which inspires a level of commitment and professionalism. It's not surprising that Justice Banerjee's tenure on the bench of the Supreme Court was such a prolific one, as her academic background is impressive. Born in Calcutta, Justice Banerjee is an alumnus of the prestigious Loreto House in the Presidency College, Calcutta, and the Department of Law, University of Calcutta. As a junior lawyer, I'm told that she had a diverse practice and would appear before various courts and tribunals. As her experience grew, so too did her success. It was not long before she was asked to accept elevation to the bench, and this at the age of 44, and she was the youngest among women judges to be elevated to the bench of the Calcutta High Court. When I was a young lawyer practicing at the bar, it was highly unusual to find a woman lawyer, and I'm talking about 1954. There were just only one or two in the Madras High Court, women lawyers, let alone a judge. And yet today we find the picture slowly changing. I'm reminded of a story about the US Supreme Court. You know that US Supreme Court has only 9 judges. That's a full court. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the judge of the Supreme Court of the United States, was asked a question as to how many women judges should there be on the Supreme Court. And she replied, 9. And when I see judges like Justice Indira Banerjee, I can certainly understand this sentiment. Of course, it will be difficult to conceive of the Supreme Court of India with 34 judges or 32 judges, having 32 women judges, but I think there should be at least 10 or 12 of them, so that there is a real balance between the male judges, because I find today that the women judges are as competitive and perhaps as aggressive as some of the male lawyers. And if they are on the bench, I'm sure that they would be able to hold their own against the male judges. I wish Justice Banerjee a wonderful retired life, with the hope that she may find some time to relax after so many years of public service. However, given her legal acumen, I'm sure that she would continue to remain with us in the legal profession, though perhaps occupying a different role. I wish her good health, long life, and prosperity, and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Mr. Vikas Singh, Senior Advocate and President SCBA, to kindly give his address.
My Lord the Chief Justice of India, Justice U. Lalit, Justice Indira Banerjee, Mr. K. Venugopal, the learned Attorney General for India, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court present here today, the learned Solicitor General of India, Mr. Pradeep Rai, Vice President, Mr. Rahul Kaushik, Secretary, Mr. Manoj Mishra, President of SCORA, other members of SCORA, executive members of the SCBA, members of the bar. It is always a difficult moment for us when we have to discuss the retirement of somebody. And it becomes more difficult when the person is dear to us, when the person has been loved by us, when the person was so receptive to the bar and took care of the younger members of the bar, that this event becomes very emotional. Justice Indira Banerjee was the daughter of an IPS officer who retired in '74 and accordingly didn't have much of means at the time when she decided to take the plunge in the legal profession. Her original intention was never to be a lawyer, but was to try a hand at the civil services examination. And for that purpose, she initially joined an MA course. But later on, one of her cousins told her that probably law may be a better course to take for the purpose of appearing at the civil services examination, and she may be able to score better in the civil services examination with a law paper, that she decided to join law. So her joining law is actually a chance for us, because we could have the benefit of having her amongst us because of this chance. While studying law, her friend was the daughter of Mr. Somnath Chatterjee, and there was a very important abduction or kidnapping case going on in the Calcutta High Court, which was very widely reported in those days. And Mr. Somnath Chatterjee also was specially engaged by the state to defend the state. So as a friend of his daughter, she started going to the High Court just out of curiosity, not to make law as a career. It is in those visits in the Calcutta High Court that she got a first-hand information of what law is all about. And it is in those visits that probably she got motivated to become a lawyer. She ultimately took the plunge of getting herself enrolled after a law degree. But as all women or girls find it difficult to find a chamber to practice, she was also looking for an office and not getting one. She was trying for joining somebody's office, but not getting it easily. It so happened that her friend, Somnath Chatterjee's daughter, was in the High Court once, and Mr. Paul, husband of Justice Ruma Paul, and I mention him because he's a very famous lawyer in the Calcutta High Court. I mention him as husband of Justice Paul because in Delhi circle, he'll be known better in that sense, because Justice Ruma Paul came to Supreme Court as a judge. So when she mentioned to him, when he saw her, he said, "Why don't you join the legal profession?" She said, "I'm not interested, but this legal profession is not kind to women." So he said, "Why do you say so?" He said, "My friend is looking for a senior. Would you take her?" He said, "I am a senior advocate. She will not learn much in my office. There is no drafting." So her friend said, "That's the problem. People give some excuse or the other and don't take women lawyers." So because of that friend, ultimately, she got into the chamber of Mr. Paul. And today, interestingly, Gopal Shankar Narayan mentioned in the Chief Court today that she was from the same chamber heading a constitution bench where Rumapal headed a constitution bench in her tenure in this court, and again she headed a constitution bench in this chamber, in this court. So it's a huge amount of pride for all of us and for her coming from the same chamber, two people heading, as lady judges, heading constitution benches. She was another inspiring fact for all women lawyers in the country is that I wanted to find out that without a godfather, being a first generation lawyer, how was she recommended for elevation so early? And the message is extremely important for every young lawyer and particularly female lawyers. She said she was once briefed by a law firm before the Honorable Chief Justice, Mr. Ashok Mathur, who was from Rajasthan and who didn't know her otherwise, to seek an adjournment. But the briefing was clear that if you don't get an adjournment, because he was very particular of or very insistent on matters going on and not adjourning matters easily, be prepared also. So when she tried her adjournment and failed, she argued the matter. It was an American Axis Bank matter, and she argued the matter, and she argued it so well that she made her presence felt. And I see this in court every day. I see many of our judges encouraging junior members of the bar to argue the matter with the senior instead of taking a passover. And in fact, once I saw, in fact, Justice Dinesh Maheshwari said that you argue whatever, we will hear you, don't worry, just argue. And the junior had not even read the file. These are golden opportunities which you get when the senior is not there and the judge really asks you to argue. Because I have seen, my experience at the bar is that judges rarely pass any adverse order if they ask a junior to argue when he is otherwise not supposed to argue. So it's a huge opportunity for a junior member of the bar to take this, and she excelled in that opportunity to argue that matter, because of which she got elevated at the age of 44, and because of which she is here with us today as a very distinguished judge of this court, having served this court for more than 4 years and having won the hearts of everybody in this institution, I will say, not only lawyers, colleague judges, as well as the registry and everybody associated with this court. She once faced criticism in her life, which was as Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. She had decided a very contentious political matter concerning some political party, and somebody who lost out went to the media, started bad-mouthing her. The very next day, some lawyers mentioned to her that you must issue contempt notice. And she shrugged it off by saying that we work as per the call of duty and our conscience, and we bow only to the law and Almighty, and the people of Tamil Nadu know our credibility, and accordingly, we did not issue contempt notice, call the first matter out. And the Deccan Chronicle wrote an editorial on this. And the heading of that editorial is very, very significant. The heading said, "Dignity of the court lies in its conduct and restraint." So the restraint that was excised on that day, because the conscience was clear, because she had decided according to the law and according to the matter, which the matter was argued before her, and according to the oath taken at the time of taking the charge as a judge, she said that no point of getting into this contempt because I am right and I don't need to. It would have been a different matter if it had been a civil contempt. And there she is very firm, where an order is disobeyed. But I remember Justice Punchi once told me that contempt jurisdiction is more a moral jurisdiction than a legal jurisdiction. If you are morally right, if you know that you are on the right, contempt is not going to save you. Contempt is not going to elevate the level of what you are doing. Contempt will only close the mouth of people who are trying to criticize you for one reason or the other. She delivered 400 judgments, and interestingly, 70% were authored by her. In the retirement of Justice Indira Banerjee, we are losing a very fine judge. When she came in, we became 3 lady judges. There was a time when we were 4 lady judges also. And now again, we will be back to 3 lady judges. And I beseech the Honorable Chief Justice of India to not only fill up at least 2-3 vacancies to the Supreme Court, at least amongst the recent vacancies by lady lawyers, but also ensure that every high court in the country has a reasonable number of lady judges. Patna High Court today has 0 lady judges, and we have so many good lawyers practicing in our court who are willing to go there, and they don't have any lady lawyers good enough to be elevated. But unfortunately, because of this system that we are following today, the collegium system, which is not interested in getting the good people and best people, so these elevations are not happening. The journey, the life of Justice Indira Banerjee, according to me, should inspire all youngsters, because she's a first-generation lawyer, and especially the lady members who, in our times or in about 2 or 3 decades earlier, were not very willing to come into this profession. But now, fortunately, we see more and more lady lawyers coming in this profession, and her life and her journey will always serve as an inspiration to them, because without any backing, by sheer hard work, you can reach to the highest in this profession. Her tenure will be missed, her stay here will be missed, because as what the learned Attorney General said, she was extremely nice to the bar. She was always patient. The bar basically wants a patient hearing. The bar wants respect. And in both these aspects, which is the demand of the bar, I would rate her as 100%. Since she got elevated, I tried to find out about her life of taking out time for herself, because of this very, very heavy schedule that she had to follow as a judge. She has not had much time to even watch movies. But her favorite is Amitabh Bachchan. So that is something which the bar would like to know as I, for myself, feel extremely sad today that she is demitting office. And I would, on behalf of the entire bar, wish her a very good, healthy, happy, prosperous remaining life, which will be her next innings, so to say. And we all will always pray that she will be with us, guide us, as and when we require any help from her. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas sir. Life of Justice Banerjee is an inspiration for all the first-generation lawyers, that with sheer hard work, you can reach greater heights in life and reach as a Supreme Court judge. She was always a very patient judge, very polite to the members of the bar, and always a very warm person. With this, may I now request Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India, to kindly give his address.
Namaste. My esteemed colleague, Justice Indira Banerjee, all my brother and sister judges of the Supreme Court of India, learned Attorney General for India, learned Solicitor General of India, the Honorable President of Supreme Court Bar Association, Honorable Vice President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, the learned Secretary of SCBA, all the office bearers of Supreme Court Bar Association, all the advocates, learned senior advocates, junior advocates, everybody who is present here, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I must say that the Collegium always picks up the best of the lot. Coming back to the topic in question, I know every one of you is more interested in hearing Justice Indira Banerjee rather than any of us, perhaps with the exception of the learned Vice President. "20 years of judicial service, dedicated, untiring, single-minded, means a lot. And that's the journey which Sister Indira Banerjee has covered. At times people say that don't consider what you have covered, consider how you have covered the distance, how you have been through this journey. But for Justice Indira Banerjee, it is not just what she has covered, it is how she has covered. Both the aspects are in the forefront. In this 20 years of journey, she has covered so many milestones she has left behind. But if I may consider and just place 3 judgments of hers, all Constitution Bench decisions. The first one, which pertained to Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act, and the issue was whether the state legislature could confer appellate power, first appellate power, upon the Supreme Court. The rent control proceedings, the appeal could lie here in Supreme Court. So therefore, she spoke on behalf of the bench, unanimous voice. That's the first judgment. The second judgment pertained to anticipatory bail issue that has also been adverted to by some of the previous speakers. And the third judgment, it's like hot cake, which is as hot as it can be, as fresh as it can be, just about 3 days back. And that is on the very interesting issue which is that what should be the number that supposing in case there is a judgment rendered by a larger bench with 4:3 majority, but a smaller judgment or a lesser number judgment, that is 5 judges of the court, they speak unanimously. So whether the persons, the numbers, that is 5 in a bench of 5, should override the larger bench decision which went by 4:3 majority. Very interesting question, and that's a very beautiful judgment rendered by her, which is the freshest of the lot. I never knew about this, that Justice Banerjee was persuaded to join the legal profession by somebody, a friend of hers. Whoever that person, the legal fraternity must thank that lady. Otherwise, legal fraternity wouldn't have had this jewel, which has sparkled, which has shone all the way through. And that's the beauty. Justice Banerjee, you have heard everybody say she has that calm, quiet composure. I shared bench with her on few days, and her contribution has always been immense. Even today, when some people say that the last day of a judge in Chief Justice's court is a ceremonial bench, I don't consider it to be ceremonial. So I asked her, "Sister, how many matters do we place?" She said, "The entire board." And we went through the entire board. And that's the commitment. That's the commitment even on the last day that the judge has shown. It's an exemplary contribution that she has made. And we are here to say, on the judicial side, goodbye, Sister Banerjee. You have done exceedingly well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. As sir rightly pointed out, there were around 50 matters listed in court 1. Normally, you have a retiring judge with 10-15 matters. With this, may I now request Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge Supreme Court of India, to kindly give her address. We all are waiting to hear you, ma'am.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice of India, Justice U.U. Lalit, my brother and sister, judges of the Supreme Court, the learned Attorney General for India, Shri Venugopal, Solicitor General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, President of the Bar Association, Mr. Vikas Singh, Vice President of the Bar Association, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Mr. Rahul Kaushik, the additional Solicitors General, President of the SCORA, and other office bearers of the SCORA, office bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, lawyers, senior and junior. I thank you for the lovely farewell that the Supreme Court Bar Association has organized. And I'm grateful to all of you that you have come in such large numbers on a day when the weather is inclement. There's very little transport available outside. I thank you. I suppose it is customary to say very nice things when a person is leaving, but whatever has been said is very encouraging, and I'm thankful for that too. At the time of departure, one does feel somewhat nostalgic. And I'm reminded of that day about 35, 36 years ago, when I first set foot in the Supreme Court of India as a shy, diffident junior, coming to the Supreme Court to do a case from Calcutta High Court. I could never have imagined then that one day I would be addressing a farewell speech from this podium here. Of course, this hall was not in existence then. If I have to refer to the various incidents of my life, there were references to how I became a judge, how I joined the law, then I should possibly also thank Mr. Jaideep Gupta sitting there. And he must be wondering why. A reference was made to a case which I had argued before Justice Ashok Mathur. I inherited the brief after Jaideep Gupta left Calcutta and came to Delhi. And he will probably remember Barmer lorry versus American Express Bank. For me, coming to the legal profession was a coincidence. I never intended to come to the legal profession. And at least one person in the family was quite opposed to my joining the legal profession, and that was my father. And that was because he always thought I didn't put in enough effort in my studies. And he said, "You're not realizing law is a jealous mistress, and you have to put in a lot of hard work." Maybe that made me take the decision also to join the legal profession. It was in 1985 that I joined the Calcutta High Court as a complete newcomer, a first-generation lawyer. Incidentally, I had two sisters, one of whom passed away in 2014, and the other passed away only last month, a few days back. Justice Padma Khastagir was my mother's sister. She was my aunt, not my sister. And it would have been nice if I had been able to meet Sai Baba, but he probably left his mortal remains way back in 1918 or 1917, when my parents had not been conceived of. It's been a long journey, 16 and a half years in the bar, and thereafter 20 years and 6 months, about seven and a half months on the bench. A long journey. There have been ups, there have been downs. Getting a chamber was difficult initially, but once I got a chamber, I got a lot of encouragement, not only from my senior, but also from his better half, who was my predecessor in office. Justice Pal was very encouraging, and we were very excited when in 1988 we got briefed in an outstation case in the High Court of Andhra Pradesh. It was a case in which Mrs. Ruma Pal was leading me, and I was appearing as the junior. And we were quite excited, two women going to argue the case. There have been ups in the profession. There have been times when for days together you don't get work, you feel a little frustrated. But what is important in this profession is that one has to remain patient, one should not give up, one should not feel discouraged. And if one makes the effort, then work does come. Now, I would perhaps not have accepted appointment as a judge if my father had been alive. When my father was there, he wanted me to be a judge. Of course, I was very junior. There was no offer then. And I used to say no. And he would say, look, money is not important. As a judge, you will be able to do something for society. You will be able to lay down the law. I used to say no. Not because I was really interested in the money, but I valued my freedom. And I'm really happy in a way that I'm demitting office, because after 20 and a half years, I shall be free once again. And as I was telling my nieces who are here, that when I had the time, I didn't have the money. When I started earning money, I didn't get any time at all. So this is probably the first time that I'll get time and money, because I'll be getting my pension. And 2 days back, when they came to make me sign my pension papers, I was pleasantly surprised, because, you know, I became a judge in 2002. By 2001, my briefs were being taken back, because the collegium here had cleared me in October 2001, but the process was taking a little time. Naturally, the fees was of that time, of 2001, 2002. So when I saw the amount that I was going to get, I said, oh my God, I've never seen this kind of money together ever in my life before. You talk about becoming a judge, but becoming a judge is also a sacrifice in a sense. Because apart from being dedicated, one always has to keep in mind the principle that justice should not only be done, but should manifestly be seen to have been done. So naturally, there are many things which the judge has to give up. A judge has to be dedicated in the Supreme Court and also in the high courts. There is a lot of hard work. I've hardly been able to talk to my nieces who have come, 2 of them from Singapore and 1 of them from Calcutta. I've not even had the time to talk to them till now, because I was busy clearing my table. Thankfully, I'll now be able to spend a little time with the family. I'll be able to spend time with my friends. And that apart, I'm fond of reading books. I'm fond of music. I'll be able to pursue my hobbies. And I'm also fond of traveling. So I hope I will be able to travel. Being in the Supreme Court for 4 years was wonderful. It was a very nice experience. I'm thankful to the Chief Justice of India, who gave me the opportunity just before my retirement to head the Constitution bench. I'm thankful to my brother and sister judges for all the encouragement, love, affection that I've got from them. I'm grateful to the bar for the warmth of their farewell. I will be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge the court masters, my PA, PS, who have shown exemplary devotion to duty and have stayed up nights to enable me to get the judgments ready. The only regret is that a considerable part of my tenure in the Supreme Court was eaten up by the COVID pandemic, when the Supreme Court could not function normally for a while. There is a comment which one of my predecessors in office had made at the time of his farewell. Justice Nageshwar Rao had said that perhaps it would be better if the tenures in the Supreme Court were slightly longer, because one really starts giving one's best after about a year or so. And in the case of many, once they start performing, the time comes to say bye-bye. 20 years have been a long time. I'm quite looking forward now to a different kind of life. But of course, I would love to keep in touch with all of you. I may not come to the Supreme Court to perform my judicial functions, but I would be there with you. I think wherever I am, whatever I do, the interest of the judiciary will be foremost in my mind. To the bar, I must say that the Supreme Court bar is a wonderful bar. Strong, independent, disciplined, and also learned. I expect that the bar, which is a very important part of the justice delivery system, will strive hard to ensure that constitutional values, constitutional rights and liberties are upheld. Before my departure, there was some reference by the Chief Justice and others to the judgments I might have delivered. I must acknowledge the contribution of the counsel who appeared before me in these cases. When the arguments are good, when the lawyers are well prepared, good judgments come. I appeal to the lawyers, particularly junior lawyers, to be professional, to be fully ready, and to assist in the process of delivery of timely justice of good quality. I would certainly remember on this occasion my senior, Mr. S. Pal, from whom I learnt the alphabets of law. As I was telling the lady bar members at a function this afternoon, that fortunately there has been vast improvement in the quality of law education now. But when we were educated, law was a very neglected area of study. It was even commented upon in many law commission reports, to which I'd rather not refer. It was in his chamber that I learnt the basic law. I got the help of many seniors, many contemporaries, including chambermates in Mr. Pal's chamber, one of whom is sitting here, from whom I inherited a brief. I'm thankful to all the members of my staff who have been with me. I thank you for all the good wishes, which I need very much. Wishes for good health, wishes for happiness. That is important for everyone. And I take this opportunity to wish all of you success, good health, and happiness, and Shubh Navratri ahead, and happy Dashera and Diwali in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You spoke from the heart. After 20 years on the bench and 40 years in profession, you would have time for yourself and your hobbies, be it reading books, music, or traveling. We wish you a very happy, healthy, retired life, ma'am. With this, may I now read the message given by Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee for the members of the bar. I wish all the members of the bar success, good health, and happiness. And I also take this opportunity to formally acknowledge and thank the bar members for the assistance I have got from them in court. The Supreme Court bar is strong, independent, knowledgeable, and disciplined professionalism of the bar, dedication, and good preparation will improve the justice delivery system, ensuring timely justice of good quality. Although I will not be attending court from tomorrow, the interest of the judiciary will be my utmost priority wherever I may be. I do hope that the judiciary, the judges, the lawyers, the officers and employees, and all other stakeholders will jealously uphold constitutional rights, liberties and values, and try their level best to ensure timely delivery of justice of good quality. The life of lawyer is not easy. The members of the profession have to work very hard round the clock. There are problems which are typical to this profession, including the problem of initial struggle of junior members of the bar. It is thus imperative that the members of the bar remain united and stand by each other in difficult times as they have done in the past. I wish you all happiness during the auspicious occasion of Navratri. Happy Dashera and Happy Diwali in advance. Thank you, ma'am, for all the kind words for the members of the bar. May I now request Mr. Vikas Singh, President SCBA, and Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Vice President SCBA, to kindly present a memento to Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee. May I now request Mr. Rohit Pandey, Joint Secretary SCBA, to kindly give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rahul. Good evening. We are grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice U. Lalit, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, for accepting our invitation for presiding the function. Indira ma'am, it is our pleasure to say that you have not only been generous, but very patient towards members of the bar. Your humbleness will never be forgotten. Ma'am, you will always be remembered for your tenure. We are thankful to Honorable Ms. Justice Indira Banerjee, Judge Supreme Court of India, and her family members for accepting our invitation to attend this function. We thank Honorable Judges of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Retired Judges of Supreme Court of India, for gracing the occasion. I thank Mr. K.K. Venugopal, London Attorney General for India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, London Solicitor General of India, Ms. Madhavi Diwan, Additional Solicitor General of India, Ms. Vikram Banerjee, Additional Solicitor General of India, learned law officers, senior members, and members of the bar, Mr. Manoj Mishra, President SCORA, Mr. Devbrat, Secretary SCORA, Mr. Senassis Mukherjee, Vice President SCORA, Mr. V.K. Bansal, London Secretary General, Mr. Rajesh Goyal, and other registrars of the Supreme Court, press, journalists, print media, registrars, and office bearers and members of the executive committee of different bar associations, and other distinguished guests and respected members of the bar for gracing the occasion. Kindly join us for high tea at the ground floor. Thank you.
May I request all the EC members just to kindly come for a group photograph?
You are acting president.